Albert Einstein once said, everybody is a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. Controversies have arisen about the meaning of this quote, yet the meaning is clear to me. A fish, of course, can't climb a tree if it doesn't have any legs. But if we judge it by its ability to climb it, rather than the fish's excellent ability to swim, it will never succeed. With access to infinite resources at the tips of our fingers, we are lost in a world of education. We can learn so much, but it applies so little. We live in the 21st century. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, 2020. But our educational systems were set up reminiscent of the Industrial Revolution. Now I have a confession to make. I don't know if you've noticed, but I love school. I remember being in elementary so excited to go, proud that the weight of my backpack could crush me in a windstorm. But now, fast forward 10 years, and I don't want to go to my favorite class. I guess over time I just lost my creativity. You know, the one where I can imagine a paperclip was a rocket ship. But now it's just an ordinary paperclip. You see, I'm that fish. We're that fish. I, like millions of students in the American school system, say that we don't like school. But I can bet that we just don't like the way school systems think they're catering to us. Children of today are becoming more and more apprehensive to their own education because our future is just not secure anymore. We are told you can be whatever you want when you grow up. But I think that's a lie. If our schools are set up for 200 years ago, we're set up for failure. It is time to put schools in the 21st century to give students equal opportunity to learn and grow. So first, let's learn as to what makes up a fish and recall the events of the Industrial Revolution. Then let's look at the fish's strengths and weaknesses and connect that back to how schools today are malfunctioning, so we can lastly change the way we judge our little fish and set up children and their future generations, not for the past, but the future. The problem is that the current system was designed for a different time. The men who conceived the system lived in the Age of Enlightenment, which led to the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution, as defined by the History Channel, is a period of time in the 19th century where agriculture became more industrialized and urban. The economic circumstances led to a revolutionary idea. The Industrial Revolution provided factories. There was a great need for manpower to work these factories, and since the U.S. was going through war, the men who owned these factories decided to look towards the working class children. Public schools now had new rules and ways of educating. Students were put into batches by age, sat in straight rows, and were told exactly what to do and say. Hey, no talking in my class. Sit still, be quiet. Do your work, or I'll send you to the office. Students were taught the same material by the same teacher, no matter how much or how little they understood. They were expected to compete for grades, follow the same standards, and follow directions the first time given. Sounds familiar, right? Right. Based on these factors we now know, let's forward into the present 2020s. It is clear that no matter how much time has passed, our educational systems have not changed. Yes, we might have the best and the newest iPhones, but no, we do not have the best and the newest forms of education. Today, we are living in the most complex world where we are being bombarded with constant information of computers, televisions, our phones, and the radio. We're expected to compact all that we learn in here without being able to interact. Pay attention! Teachers yell at us literally all day. How can we? There's a lack of autonomy that does not let scholars communicate with one another, not even to ask questions. Saul Khan, founder of Khan Academy, describes this as a fundamentally dehumanizing experience. 30 kids with fingers on their lips not being able to interact with one another. The future needs creative minds, divergent thinkers who ask how, instead of question, why? But with this lack of autonomy, It brings an end to scholars' creativity and intellectual knowledge about how the real world is going to be. The system is sending a dangerous message that children are not in charge of their own lives. No effort, no perseverance, no hope. Not to mention standardized testing. According to Today, only 19.5% of students who take the standardized test benefit from it. More than 70% of educators say that standardized tests are not developmentally appropriate. Standardized tests are not objective, therefore. They should not be a way of determining a child's intelligence, capabilities, abilities, whatever it may be. A recent article published by PBS on October 9, 2019 states that on average, every 10 days, a college decides to make test scores optional for their applicants. Now amid COVID-19, these numbers have skyrocketed. If now even more so than ever, colleges are making this decision, should I then be bending over backwards, breaking my back, studying for a test that does not work for me, but against me? Sarah Halbrook, a writer whose poem was used on the SAT, found it curious and figured she'd go and take the test. Well, after taking the test, she realized that for her own poem, she got every single question wrong. Standardized tests should not be used to determine a child's intelligence, if not even the author can get the questions right. Lastly, students are being given way too much homework per night, to the point where teachers are left asking why we're sleeping in their class. 8 hours of school a day, plus 2 to 3 hours of homework a night, extracurriculars, and having all of that moved online? That's too much to ask. We need to solve these issues. We need to make changes in order to ensure that each and every child can really benefit from their education and know that yes, we do have something to look forward to. First, eliminate standardized testing. According to CNN, countries in Europe, such as Finland, don't use them, and they're in the top school rankings. Which leads to my question. Why should we? Second, stop lecturing. American Psychological Association shows how Barbara McComb, PhD, an educator, decided to put to the test how autonomy works in classrooms. Well, after spending just one day observing teachers' classrooms, she realized that the teachers who had better days were the ones who trusted their students more. She concluded the result was positive motivation, with little to no student complaints or disturbances. Lecturing is not for the developing brain. It is for the already developed. Leave it for college, not now. Third, reduce the amount of homework students are given. A recent study conducted by Denise Pope, a senior lecturer at Stanford University, states that of the 4,317 students surveyed, 56% said they considered homework a primary source of stress. Many of these students also said that they experienced health issues such as headaches, nausea, sleep deprivation, and in even some cases, weight loss. I've experienced all of these. And yes, I know, hard to believe. But I have, and I don't doubt that most of us, all of you watching this speech, have experienced at least sleep deprivation due to the amount of homework we've received. Yes, of course, homework does provide open doors to learning beyond what is taught in class. But according to Oxford, these benefits only occur when students are engaged and ready to learn. The more homework we get, the less we want to engage. Now, I'm not trying to be a complete idealist here. We have to be realists as well. I'm not trying to solve 200 years worth of broken school systems, but I am trying to find some solutions to some problems and maybe create some changes. I need to go to school, grow, learn, succeed without killing my humanity. We've learned how to change the way we judge that little fish. Then we learned about how to cater to its needs. So now, let's judge it based on its excellent ability to swim and not its impossible ability to climb that tree. To better the future, the Board of Education must look towards the Industrial Revolution, learn from it, and leave it in the past. The current system was designed for 200 years ago, leave it there, and move on. Look forward to the children of tomorrow who are taught in a way that they are not held back from themselves. We will be able to create our own path and not have to follow one with the false finish line. Then, and only then, we will be able to answer with full confidence when somebody asks us, "What do you want to be when you grow up?"